I trust that right now, you, in the midst of your regular life, are able to totally and actually and truly grasp what is happening right now before our very eyes. I hope, and I say this with all due respect, I hope that with all that you are doing and all that is happening, that you're able to sift through what is happening now, as am I, and just marveling, breaking this down into a diagrammatic kind of a blueprint, if you will, looking at the schematics of what's happening. This is bigger than anything we've ever seen. Welcome, dear friends. Welcome. And let me ask you right now, as we expand and explore and explode the Lionel franchise, Lionel Nation, Lionel Legal, make sure you take this moment right now and subscribe. Subscribe. We're going to be moving this into I'm in the midst right now of processing. Oh my God. We are expanding because it is all subsumed under many different rubrics, but under this main tent. Does that make any sense to you? Pop culture, history, legal, courtroom, politics, all of this. Like, for example, Alec Baldwin. Thank God Alec Baldwin was acquitted. I don't want to sound like Dershowitz, but I said he will be acquitted. I didn't think it would be this unceremoniously, but I knew he would be acquitted because it was a movie, and civil negligence in no wise rises to the level of criminal. It was a movie. It was a movie. That's why he had a gun in his hand. If you were in somebody's rumpus room and they said, hey, let me show you what I've got. This is this. Yeah, I'll be up there in a minute, honey. Hey, Dave, let me show you this. This is my gun. Oh, it went off. Oh, wait a minute. Hold it. You're in a rumpus room? Remember those? You're at a home? Oh, no. This is per se negligence. This is per se negligence. Oh, no, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. But here's what nobody is talking about. Here is what nobody is discussing. Here is what is critical about this. And this is what I'm trying to explain to folks. And I know you understand it, but a lot of my friends don't. They don't see it this way, but I'm going to try my best to help them. Pop culture, what we used to call pop culture, is as critical today as political, purely political. Breitbart, before they whacked him, said that politics is downstream from entertainment or culture or whatever you want to call this. I forgot the names of this. If you look for a moment, if you think that Alec Baldwin is not something that is of any use to you, then you're not paying attention to the significance of it. And why is this important? Let me explain it to you. It's important because the left, in all of its manifestations, the left is dematerializing. And the left always used as its fulcrum, as its wedge, as its pivotal point, they always used entertainment, Hollywood, music. It's always critical. It was part and parcel. Yet, the left and Hollywood abandoned Alec Baldwin. Why? He fell out of favor. Why? What did he not do? He played the worst imitation of Trump ever. It was the worst. He does the best. He's a very talented man. Alec Baldwin and Hilaria was, oh boy, we won. Brosita. Ay, qué bueno, chico. Right. He's very talented. He does I think he did the best Tony Bennett imitation. He does a great Al Pacino, who doesn't, but he never got Trump. This young man, I guess, on SNL did the best Trump ever. And then everybody imitated him. In the world of impressions, of which I have absolutely no talent whatsoever. I can do voices, but I can't do impressions. I can't imitate anybody. But a person is able to, of course, very facile with tonality, has an incredible ear, but also can find out that thing that they do. Just like a caricature artist will find that thing about. Remember when there was a fellow when George W. Bush would come on, they would make him look like a pimp, a chimp. For some reason, somebody said, "Oh, you're right," and they noticed the rather simian details. Just fascinating, utterly fascinating. So they saw that. Well, there was this young man from SNL who saw the way he. David Fry, for those of you who remember this from our generation, David Fry was the quintessential Nixon. I'm not a crook. The shaking of the jowls. He did it. Well, Alec Baldwin could not do Trump, but he did everything he tried to do. He was a lefty. He would do everything, but they abandoned him. Why? There was a fractured collapse of the, I guess you would call, the left. Let me ask this question. All of you, dear friends, ask everybody this question. What would be the chances? What would be the chance of the left having abandoned Ron Howard? If Ron Howard were making a movie, Ron Howard did exactly the same thing. Ron Howard was starring, and he was. They would say, "Oh no, you can't do this," and you can't. If Martin Scorsese, it would never happen. You know all the guns they had, and Goodfellas, and this and that. These are dissimilarities. How about Spielberg? Spielberg. Do you think anybody, if Spielberg had been, did you understand what's happening here? Do you see this? This is what's critical. Why did they abandon him? Why? Okay. Now let me ask you what's going on here. This is the most important part. Make a long story short, Alec was abandoned, and that's terrific. But he was acquitted, and that's good for him. You understand that? Good. Now, what's happening right now? What is happening? Quick poll, my friends. Who is going to win the 2024 election? Quick roll call. Let's go. Who is going to win? I want everyone, especially new members, new folks. Remember, subscribe to Lionel Legal, subscribe to Lionel Nation. Back and forth. We are expanding the horizons. We are expanding the multitudes. Who is going to win? Paulie Koza says Trump. Hillary Clinton. Ladies and gentlemen, there's always this funny, let's throw in something. Michelle Obama. Come on. What is happening? How many people really think? Do you really think that Hillary Clinton? No. Why? Well, because I say that and I'm just being funny, you know. Do you think Michelle Obama? No, I don't think Michelle Obama. Well, why'd you say Michelle Obama? Well, because, you know, I don't know. I'm trying to be funny, I guess. And okay, it was inappropriate. I don't know. I just thought maybe. Do you believe in what they're saying with the 538? Are you reading? Are you reading what they're saying, that it's a toss-up or Biden just edges out Trump? Do you believe these stories? Do you believe that anybody today in his or her right mind could look at Joe Biden and say, yes, like Whoopi Goldberg said, I don't even care if he, and I'll try to clean this up, literally, if he soils himself. I don't even care if he soils himself. Do you think anybody could actually look at Joe Biden and say, he is, not only am I going to vote for him, but he's fine. He's fine. He's the best. Barbara Streisand's doing it. Nancy Pelosi, kind of. Every 2-bit Hollywood hacks calling up their agent and saying, can you get me in Daily Mail? Rosie O'Donnell. Who is it that cares what Rosie O'Donnell says? Rosie O'Donnell is paying somebody, obviously, to put her name in there because nobody has so much as cared about Rosie O'Donnell. Nobody has cared about Rosie O'Donnell. What are you talking about? Rosie O'Donnell is irrelevant. You got to, you know what's tough when you have to ask people, what about Rose, Mom, Dad, who's Rosie O'Donnell? Where'd you hear that name? Oh, I don't know. I heard it was Rosie O'Donnell. What is Rose? Well, she had a show. And actually, when her show first came out, it was really good. Remember that? Rosie O'Donnell tried herself to be, she had a talk show. And it reminded me, believe it or not, of the old, they kind of like Mike Douglas, sort of. Everything, she was really good. She had people, I think, what was his name? Dennis Young or whatever from Styx, the group. And he had just, it was really good. Until Rosie said, I can't do this anymore. I have to tell you what I think politically. And she had on Tom Selleck. And that did it. And she decided to yell at Tom, who was a guest, who had nothing to do, just wanted to promote whatever the hell he was doing. And she wanted to go after Tom Selleck about guns. And that was it. Because she couldn't do it. She had almost like a behavioral disorder. She had something perhaps maybe in her character who says that I can't let this out. There are some people, and you've met them before, the people with Trump derangement syndrome, TDS. It is real. Trump derangement syndrome is real. I know that may sound funny to people. It's an absolute, we've all seen this. It is an absolute fact that there are people that we have known, and they still have it, who are absolutely demented by this. I have a very good friend of mine. He's I think he's in his 70s, early 70s. really a big shot in kind of media, very successful. Nobody's dummy. Nobody's fool at all. Who wrote me and asked me a question? Wrote me a very, very serious question and said, honestly, what do you think about Project 2025? With a straight face. Have you had that happen before? All of a sudden, 2025. Did you hear this? The Heritage Foundation, the Heritage Foundation is as middle of the road as you can get. The Heritage Foundation is a fantastic group of people. The Heritage Foundation is one of the most interesting groups of people. There, when you're in DC, if you get a chance, and you come out of Union Station, out of the train, the thing there, and you go over the homeless and the degenerates, and you step over them, pardon me, you go out and you hang a left. So a couple of blocks down, and they have some of the best lectures, groups of people, and they're so nice. Let me tell you what they are. This is what really impressed me. They are so nice that they've had people sometimes who come in from the streets. You know, some might be a little shingad, you know, but it's kind of open to the public maybe. And they would come in obviously just for the lunch because they would always have, wraps or, but they were very nice. They didn't throw these. I thought that was not, that got me. I don't know why. I feel kind of sorry for the mentally ill, having been in radio most of my adult life. I'm very familiar with these people. By the by, let me just say, Master Yoda, thank you so much. Cut Up Chatter. I love these names. Thank you, Cut Up. Christian Janus says Biden was asked boxers or briefs, and his answer was depends. You are great. By the way, did you ever notice this, Christian? If I had to have a name of a product that worked every damn time, this is for incontinence, okay? You better work. This thing better work every damn time. You're going to go out there in the world, and the name of, and let me just say something. I would have a call, works every damn time. Go to a Giants game. Forget the long lines. Just right there in your seat. Works every damn time. Dependable, right? Bulletproof, waterproof, works every damn time. New from works every damn time. In boxers and briefs, works every damn time. What do they call it? Depends. Actually, it's depend, but we call it depends. Bradley Oplin says, Oba will win the popular vote. Trump will need to be tough. I like this. Very interesting. Brad, whatever you're smoking, my friend, stop it. Just stop it. You're a young man. Michelle Obama has no interest in this whatsoever. By the way, true story about the depends. We had a friend of ours passed away, and she said, I said, do you need anything? We went by to see her. She says, you're going to think this is crazy. I said, what? She goes, I'm almost embarrassed to ask. I said, what is it? Could you pick up some Depends at this store? Yes, no problem. So we went by like a CVS, Dwayne Reed, something like that. I walked in with this big thing of, whatever it was. I don't know if it says men's or women's. What the hell's the difference? Think about that. What's the difference? Anyway, I got this big thing. And the woman behind me says, hey, are you, or she just kind of, I said, yeah. I said, oh, this isn't for me. This is for a friend. Yeah, right. No, I'm, no. Okay. It's not for me. Okay. I'm just saying it's not for, okay. Had another friend of mine. Don't ask me why. What'd you see him in the hospital? Older fellow. Can I get you anything? He says, well, I don't know how to say this. Depends, right? He goes, how'd you know? I said, I don't know. Don't worry about it. I walked in. This time I get the super duper, get 2 of them, whatever it is. Guess who's at the counter? Yep. I swear to God, it's the second friend. Oh, you got 2. Yeah, I got 2 friends in the hospital, and I'm going to go visit them, and I buy Depend. It's not, okay. No. I'm just telling you. But who knew? Who knew? Let me tell you something. That's a critical find, I guess. But Michelle Obama, is not going to run. You do know that there's nobody in this. There's nobody here. Everybody knows this. I mean, it's something that we're saying. Hillary Clinton is not. Here's what we think is going to happen. Mrs. L, who's very astute in this. And please, by the by, in case any of you, speaking of Depends, hello, how are you? Put some charcoal briquettes in there just in case. You know what I mean? High class, highbrow, you know it. You know it. What we were saying makes the most sense is right before, when is it Milwaukee? Was it next July? What, next week or something? Yeah, RNC. Monday. Clear enough. Wouldn't it make sense for Biden to, quote, step down Monday or whenever to, quote, I'm doing a lot of air quotes here, to steal the thunder from the president? Does that make any sense? It sounds good on paper, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to tell you a prediction. And by the way, predictions only make sense based upon your data that you are provided. If that makes sense to you, okay? That makes sense? You can predict all you want, but the predictions will change based upon the data. Today, right this moment, understand what we're looking at right here. This is very, very important. There are 37 days until the Democratic convention in Chicago. 37 days. There are 115 days until the election. Right now, based upon what I think the data is, I think Joe Biden's going to take it all the way. All the way. Now you're saying to yourself, this doesn't make any sense. Tell me what does. Tell me what does. No, you don't understand. This doesn't make any sense. Tell me what makes sense. Tell me what these people do. No, seriously, tell me. Kamala Harris, he's not going to pick her. That doesn't make any sense. Tell me why. Remember this? She's not even polling. She's polling 2%. They're not going to have her. That doesn't make any sense. Who'd they pick? Kamala Harris. Why did they pick Joe Biden? Listen to me. What was the reason for Joe Biden? He was picked initially to ward off, to stop, to staunch, I think it's stanch, the effect of Bernie Sanders. That's why they picked him, because he was known and they liked him and he was blah, blah. That was the reason. You labor under the delusion that these people know what they're doing. You labor, and I think it's a well-founded delusion. A delusion versus an illusion versus an hallucination. You labor under this delusion that these people know what they're doing. You labor, you believe, you honest to God believe that there is this superstructure of rational thought. You believe this in your heart of heart. You look at things in terms of, well, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. I'm hearing this nonsense, this completely ridiculous discussion about who's Trump's vice president. Nobody cares. This is inside the Beltway, Washington. Only is it Bergam? Is it stop? Is it Youngkin? Nobody cares. Nobody. It might be a little bit better. This one might. It's this idea. So the first rule that Uncle Lenny here is telling you, please dispossess yourself of this thing called logic. Please pull this away from what makes sense. Does this make sense? Why would they do this? What would I do? None of it makes any sense. None of it. I can give you a list of what makes no sense. None of it makes any sense. Let me start off with this. Look at me. I don't think you understand this. Nobody's running the show here. These are either crazy or stupid. Or, I don't even know. There are so many good people that could have been culled and vetted and polished and worked through. I would have had, if I was in charge of the Democratic Party or Republicans, I would have had a bench, a deep bench. Who am I pulling up? This is what the party heads do. They look and they see who's good and who we can bring up. And then we have people who come along and they ask themselves, okay, what is it that elections are all about? Okay, stop. New topic. I don't think people understand. I was listening to a lot of people. Breaking Points. I like them a lot. It's my favorite kind of online. It's young folks. It's good. It's Katie and Crystal rather, and Sager and Emily and Ryan. It's youthful and it's very, very good. And Ryan Grimm is excellent. Okay. They were talking about the VP pick. So inside baseball, I'm thinking, you're in DC. You're doing this to merely send out messages to your competing folks who talk about this to show that you know what's going on. It's a fad. It's lingo. Stop right there. Lenny rule number 2. When Uncle Lenny wants to explain something, Uncle Lenny here will go off into a metaphor or an analogy, which some people think are desultory, discursive, or somehow elliptical, off the cuff or off the mark, kind of an ADD referencing. That's partly correct, but not really. Let me give you an example. I love fads. Fads are a look into human behavior. One of my favorite, I don't know if we have Laurie here. We have a member of our family. She likes to watch Russian plane crashes on YouTube. Is it plane or dash cams or something? When I want to relax, when I want to kick back, when I want to just be mindless, you might watch like Mrs. Dell sometimes watch these home shows like DIY or how they those creepy twins, that whatever it is. It's something just to kind of mindless, just to watch, maybe sports, maybe listen to music. When I want to kick back and relax, I watch people being arrested, body cam arrests. I learn so much about this. I cannot tell you. Sometimes I've learned so much. You know who I've also learned from? Our friend Edie Crowley. Edie says, if Biden wins by hook or crook, we will know that those in power say, if we want a feeble old man in, then so be it. Oh, absolutely, Edie. But also, what nobody is, and I'm glad you brought this up, Edie, dear friend. The thing that is the most important is, what about the illegals who are going to march in, who are going to get there? They have these things. Have you heard this thing now? Illegals are given apps. They're given phones, iPads. We see, you can spot illegals here all the time. Newly minted, new backpacks, new shoes. They're walking around in families, and they're not hurting anybody, but you can just tell. And loads of them are put into hotels. The trafficking is unbelievable. Yeah, brand new. How do I say this? Brand new folks with Louis Vuitton. Could be fakes, but anyway. So these folks come in there, and they're given apps, special apps for them to bypass certain things. Edie, one of my concerns is follows. On election day, all of a sudden, somebody somewhere activates this app that says, if you are in the following group, we know where you are, we can track you. Here's a phone, but the app's on there. We know where you are. Everybody in Sector Y, go here and vote. What do you mean? Go to here, go to this precinct, go to this state, go to this, whatever it is, en masse and vote Democrat. You will not be asked questions. Hello, my name is, you're in. Boom. Provisional voting. That's it. All of a sudden, 10,000 Biden voters show up. Democrats say, count them. Count the ballots. They're all legit. Count them. Count them. Our good friend Dinesh D'Souza, there's no need for 1,000 mules or whatever. No, they're all legit. Why? Because there was legislation. It was legislation that was filed, legislation that was passed that allowed these people in. Fox News can't talk about it because they're scared witless over the Dominion and Smartmatic lawsuits. Same thing for Newsmax. They're never going to talk about this, even though this is not voter fraud. This is legitimate. Brad Oplin says, I live 8 blocks from the Chicago Hilton. Michelle Obama has already won the popular vote. She's not running, but it doesn't matter to the left. Trump will win, so what? She has not won the popular vote, by the way, but that's okay. But she is only, again, Brad, I appreciate and thank you for your suggestion and your kindness. But Michelle Obama, nobody cares about Michelle Obama but Michelle Obama. She wants to be Oprah. And she has a group of people, a PR firm, who constantly puts her in, just like that HBO deal. Remember that stupid thing where, Netflix, because that's how they got their money in the back end. Huh? Oh, yeah. Their movie. See, the way I'm getting off, but that's okay. The way the shadow government pays you off is in the back end. You're paid off in the back end. They don't give you money while you're in office. When Obama came out, he wrote a book, which went to number 1. Michelle wrote a book, which had the same literary integrity and intellectual value as a Joe Biden dissertation. It was silly. I believe that one must know the concept of oneself in order to grasp the conceptualization of that which, you know what I mean? It's almost like Kamala Harris, for some reason, when people get to a certain point, they always say, you've got to believe in yourself. You can do anything, unless you're stricken with stage 4, thyroid cancer. What? Oh, yeah. Well, you can do anything you want, unless you're a mother working 2 jobs and nobody's saying because your husband abandoned you. Oh, yeah. This idea that you can seize the day. No, you can't. You can do anything you want. No, you can't. I'm never going to be an NBA center, no matter what anybody says. And not because of my age, but it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You can't do what you want. I don't know where this comes from. Think positively. No, think realistically. Don't think positively. Think realistically. Yeah, don't be whatever it is. Let me go back to what I was saying before about watching cop videos. I love phrases. On TV, they love to say unpack, Biden took a knee, and also now big boy press conference. You notice that big boy. John Kirby said big boy. Now it's big boy everything. Big boy, big boy, big boy, big boy, big boy, big. We love it. In watching cop arrest, there's two words that are important. One is bro. I first heard it said every day, but Sammy the Bull Gravano on his various podcasts go, hey bro. So, oh, okay, bro. There's another fellow, some podcasters, one guy who cannot get through without saying bro. Everything, come on, bro. Used to be dude. Remember when women would say, hey, dude, they would, well, it's bro. Used to be bruh. Bro. Come on, bro. Let me go, bro. You can't do that, bro. You can't believe it. Overnight. I've never heard this. Watch current arrest stuff. The second one is the word literally. You don't understand. I'm literally standing here and I literally called you, bro. I literally called you. Nobody is suggesting you didn't literally. I mean, versus figuratively. Yes, I know you go. I'm literally standing here. I'm literally under arrest. Okay, stop saying literally. What does that mean? Really? What do you think that word means? He's literally dead. Yes, I know he's literally. What is so literally means something? I think it means like when people underline words. I love you. Never underline a word. Never italicize a word unless there's a reason for it. And bro. So people say things. People say things. And just like people say things, people think things. My friend who says, what do you think about Project 25, which I alluded to before? What's with 2020? So you know what I say, by the way, here's what you should say. I said, well, what do you think about Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030? Huh? Do you know what Project 25 says? 2025 says? Did you read it? No. Well, check out Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030. You know what that is? No. How about Codex Alimentarius? That's the good one. Nobody catches that. And then, of course, I walk off because I literally said something they literally don't understand. Literally. They literally don't understand what the hell they're literally saying, bro. True. Take a knee, by the way. And let's unpack this. Shall we? Can I hate that. I hate that. Can we unpack this? And hey, guys. Thank you, guys. I hate that. I literally hate it, bro, when they say guys. I'm not a guy. Okay, first of all, I hate it. So why do I bring this up? I bring this up because I literally think much of what you say, not you, but you, because believe it or not, part of where you're from, part of where you live, the time, and what is favorable to you reflexively. Do you know why you are Christian? By the way, great to have one of these things on your keyboard. This is a wonderful, I love the little paintbrushes. They're also great to get anyway. The reason why you're a Christian is you're born in the United States. If you were born in Damascus, you'd probably be Muslim. With all due respect. Do you know why most of you are who you are? It's because your father was that way. Believe it or not, in a very, very important poll I read years ago, it's true. Most people are raised, their political ideology becomes a part of what they're raised with. Just like their religion, their faith, their culture, literally. If you are, I knew somebody who recently, a while back, moved to the kind of the San Diego area, and they never really knew California loony lefties. Never really ran into them. Had no idea. Literally. Well, some time elapsed, and we talked to him, and he said, wow. I said, I know, isn't it? He goes, it's incredible. I said, I don't know. You were right. Literally. You understand that? You don't understand. And the reason why many of these people think like this is because they were born or they live there. There is a movie right now that is a documentary being touted regarding whether Abraham Lincoln was gay. This is an old trope, a meme, a theory, an idea that is being and has been discussed for years. There was this fellow he lived with. They shared the same bed. Men oftentimes live together, literally. I'm sorry. Now you got me doing it. What am I saying? I literally have me saying literally. Literally. And by the way, once you notice it, that's all you hear. It's all you can't unhear it. And bro. Well, there was a time in Hollywood. Do any of you fine folks remember when Cary Grant and Randolph Scott lived together? Two multimillionaires, these handsome Hollywood fellows who were out in the pool with a beach ball. Hey. And they said, people would say, I think they're bachelors. They thought nothing of it. They had roommates. Sometimes roommates are still a big deal in D.C. You know that because the poor congressman can't afford, to live, whatever. But that's okay. That notwithstanding, they're putting this thing. I was watching this piece, this documentary about whether Abraham Lincoln was gay. Could be. I also heard the story, maybe you heard him too, where Abraham Lincoln contracted syphilis. And I went to school with her cousin, by the way. Syphilis, and passed it on to Mary Todd Lincoln, who went crazy. And Lincoln had a great source of guilt because of that, and forever had a tremendous source of a sense of depression, not to mention the death of his son and all that. So this always been. James Buchanan, they say, not only was gay, but might have had a relationship with his vice president. This is old. But why are they doing it now? Watch the trailer for this. Watch the trailer. And they show all of a sudden a professor here, a historian here, I'm in here, and all of a sudden there's a guy with a beard and a dress. Got it. What is this? Normalization. This has nothing to do with, hey, we just found out, here's something interesting. No. This is part of a conditioning, legal, a propaganda, if you will, movement to promote the idea, to promote this notion that these are merely alternative ways of thinking, and that society is filled with people whom you have probably did not know, but are literally whatever. Okay, and that's exactly what it is. That's called conditioning. That is called conditioning. We have a friend, a family, years ago, her daughter goes to college. Next thing you know, the daughter says, guess what? Oh, no, the friend says, and this is one of these lib types who goes, guess what? Our daughter, whatever, Morgan, is not gay, fluid. I said, well, there's these depends things you might be able to get. They're called PADs. Anyway, she's fluid. So what does that mean? Well, she has a special friend. We consulted with a friend of ours who was what used to be called a lesbian, but they don't call them lesbians anymore. They call them something else. And she says, oh, no. And there was a name for it. That was a typical young girl goes to college, lives on her own for the first time, has a friend, very intimate, never had a sister really. And don't worry, it'll pass. Happens all the time. And we said, oh, no. Oh, no. Our friend said, oh, no, trying to dissuade us from questioning the legitimacy of this. Oh, no, she is 100%. This is not some passing fad. Sure enough, it was a passing fad. That's FAD. Passing fad. Okay. Why? Because what we believe, what we say, what we think, what we opine, what we regurgitate, literally, is that which we are surrounded by. Here's my new favorite. You ever had a friend like this who calls up? This is my favorite. Somebody who says, can you believe this? What do you think about this? What do you mean? The Biden thing. What do you mean? What do you think about it? The whole, this he's crazy. What do you think about that? This is and this is oftentimes, this is as far as the analysis goes. Christian Janus Face, remember that Two-Face Russian, says, can you imagine an evening of Ali Vitali as a blackjack dealer asking if you want to hit or stand? That is great. Ali Vitali, she's very good. She's this young reporter, from MSD or something. She has these eyes, the sanpuku, that 4 walls or 3 walls, or she looks like, what? It's like, do you understand? Or hit. It's like, do you know something? True story, time out. Years ago, there was an old-time street lawyer, was a judge, and he was bounced, corrupt. Just everybody knew he was, but he was lovable. And he had a form of Tourette's. He had this tic. And he would, the nicest guy ever, but everybody knew who he was. And his problems were when he was younger. By the way, this was the same guy who years ago, when his wife came to a hotel and said, where is so-and-so? She says, if you go for that phone, tell me his room. Now, in the old days, they would say, I'm not going to tell you the room. She goes up there, she breaks in, and he's in bed with this other girl. I think they had twin beds or something. And he says, who are you? And she says, what? It's me. Get out of here. I don't know who you. Oh, my God. Did they, the newspaper, the local paper, they'll do anything to get me. Get out. Get out. Get out. He goes, honey, I don't. Anyway, Pete, it was very imaginative. But he did like this. So later on, he was in private practice as a lawyer. We had a judge who did this too. So there was a fellow standing there. He said, yes, Your Honor, we have do you have a plea? And this guy's looking, he goes, what's going on? He goes, whoa, hey. You don't think I see what's going on? He goes, what do you mean? He goes, this. What are we giving each other signals? What is this? Is this on the take? Is this a fix? What the hell's going on here? And they literally didn't know what anybody was talking about. I go, what do you mean? He goes, that thing you're doing. Well, that's Ali. I'm sure somebody said, Ali, you look like this is bad news. Well, we just received word. What? Breaking news. You don't want to hear like breaking news. Remember the old days, they said, we're sorry to interrupt with this important bulletin. They used to interrupt stuff only if they had something really important, like JFK's assassination. Now it's always breaking news, developing story. Everything's breaking news, sweepers. Ali Vitali, if they broke in, what? Live from Moscow. Oh my God. No, it's okay. Oh, please don't. Or I've got your results. What? Or as a judge, may I see the members of the jury? Have you reached a verdict? Yes. Would you give it to the clerk, please, or the bailiff? Can I see it? And the judge has to read it first. Anyway, now you got me going on that one, Janice. You got me going on that. Let me go back to what I said before, and let me say it again to you. I'm going to make this very, very simple. Americans don't know anything about anything. But I want you to sit back. If you are either a Republican, a conservative, a Trump fan, anti-Democrat, whatever it is, sit back and enjoy the ride. You are seeing something that will forever affect them, maybe, not permanently, but nobody has ever seen this. They are marveling at the level of confusion. Let me see if I can explain this to you. We have 3 groups of people all the time. One, a group of people who will vote for a Republican no matter what. You got that? Okay. You got it? No matter what. No matter what. In 2000, a fellow named Mel Carnahan was running for, I think, senator from Missouri. He died. Mel Carnahan died. It was up against John Ashcroft. Let me say this again. He's dead. The governor said, listen, if you vote for, I think her name was Jeannie Carnahan, if you vote for his wife, I'm going to replace her. But if you vote for Mel, I'm going to give it to Jeannie. It's a deal. John Ashcroft said, this is going to be easy. I'm running against a dead person. Hi, I'm John Ashcroft. I'm not decomposing. I'm John Ashcroft. I live. I breathe. How hard can this be? Guess who won? Go ahead. Who literally won, bro? Guess who? Mel Carnahan. He was dead. Let me say this again. I don't think you understood what I said. He's dead. And they went there vote for the dead guy. And they said, keep the torch going. I think that was, okay. This is second to that. Joe Biden, I don't give a damn what it is. My favorite is, what was the cause of death? Excuse me. What did you say? Well, we're just curious. What was the cause of death? Now, in criminal law, the mode of death is important. Remember NASH, NASH, the acronym? Natural, accidental, suicide, or homicide. Actually, unexplained. NASHU. Gesundheit. NASH. It's got to be homicide. But the cause of death? What difference does it make? He's dead. Cause of what? Death? How about the cause of pregnancy? Was it in vitro fertilization? Was it? Does it matter? Not to the person alive and not to the person dead. So you and I can talk all day long about Biden. Was it a gaffe? Is it senescence? Is it dotage? Is it old age? Is it Parkinson's? Do you know why they keep focusing on Parkinson's? Because it's not Parkinson's. It's something else. There's Parkinson's dementia. There's Alzheimer's, that amyloid kind of gooky twists and tendrils. And then there's Lewy body dementia. But there's focusing on Parkinson. There was an old thing sometimes in cross-examination. Was the car red or blue? Was the car red or blue? Red. No, it was green. See? Here's one for you. Ask somebody, how do you pronounce the capital of Kentucky? Is it Louisville, Louisville, Louisville? Louisville. No, Frankfurt. That's what this is. So they're setting you into the Parkinson's. Who cares about Parkinson's? You brought it up. I didn't say Parkinson's. You see a tremor? You see any kind of motor? I know people say, I know you don't have to have a tremor, but look at Michael J. Fox and look at Joe Biden. Now, again, I'm no expert in this. Parkinson's. If you're going to have to come up with a name, doesn't that sound better? If you say, what would you rather have, Parkinson's or Alzheimer's? Most people say Parkinson's because it's neuromuscular, but it's not, you know how we always have these, like whatever you do. Here's one for you. And again, I'm no doctor. People always say, whatever you do, I hope it's not pancreatic cancer. Whatever it is, that's the worst. It's the worst. How many times have you heard that, right? People say this. Just we say these things. Like, best source of potassium is bananas. What? No, it's not. That's what I heard. Vitamin C, oranges. Protein, meat. Calcium, milk. You just say these things. You're just taught these. So a friend of mine who's a physician says, pancreatic cancer. That's the worst. He goes, that's not what I'll take pancreatic. He says, over bladder cancer. Remember when they were talking about Chuck? Remember Prince Chuck? They were thinking, looks like bladder cancer. Why? Well, they were guessing because they went in for the prosthetic. They did the cystoscopy. And then that's when they normally see bladder cancer. But he's looking great now. Kate is still nowhere to be. She's still MIA. Okay. So my friend, physician, says, I said, well, at least it's not Parkinson's. He goes, pancreatic. He says, oh, pancreatic's like that. He goes, I'll take pancreatic over bladder cancer. Oh, no. I had never thought of it. He goes, oh, no, you don't want that one. You want some fast, quick, boom, 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 boom. That's what you want. And I never thought of that. Why? Because we have these ideas of what things are. We have these ideas, and things sound better in focus groups. So that's why they're pushing Parkinson's. Parkinson's doesn't sound. Everybody says, oh, Uncle Joe, he's got a tremor, right? This is what you think. He's okay. He just has a hard time. By the way, did you know there is a spoon? Excuse me, not a spoon, but these poor people, they're trying to eat and they can't even eat because their hands are shaky. So it is a device. You put a spoon in, and it cancels out movement. It's the most beautiful thing in the world, and they can eat. So if they shake, somehow this device cancels out the shake, and they can eat. It's beautiful. But when you say Parkinson's, you don't think of somebody being mentally like Michael J. Fox. He's physically obviously incapacitated. It's very sad, but he talks, and I don't want to bring up, but Stephen Hawking, he has ALS, which is different, but he was brilliant. So in our minds, there are these words and these concepts collectively that we believe in. Just like how many of you know what Americans love more than anything else? Protein. This has more protein in it. Well, I'm going to buy that. What do you need protein for? What? What do you need protein for? You got plenty of protein. Don't you need protein? One, you don't. Your protein's fine. There's no doctors who'll tell you got to get some protein, unless you're have an eating disorder or you're on some kind of a prisoner of war camp or something. We just have these things. There are these words, these phrases that we like. They're better. So I'm saying Parkinson's. Is this Parkinson's? It looks like Parkinson's to me. How about that doctor that showed up? Remember this doctor who shows up and he just makes the case. Never saw Biden. How this guy has his license. You never saw anybody. You never talked to him. You never looked in his eyes. You were never in the same room with him. And all you're doing is just looking at him on TV. You know nothing about anything. You're on TV. Why did they do that? Did they set Biden up, or do they want you to think that? Did some focus group, did some Frank Luntz, by the way, he should do a focus group on bad tubes. I don't get this. Frank, how bad can a bald head be compared to that beaver pelt you're wearing on your head? What are you doing? What is this thing? It's a helmet. You think this looks good? You think, I look a lot better. Why? No. Bald head? Sean Connery, sexiest man in the world? Everybody else? Michael Jordan? No, but you've got to put this helmet on. Okay. But somebody somewhere, I'll bet you anywhere, said, no, we don't want to. Don't say Alzheimer's. Don't say, and Lewy body. They think maybe Michael, maybe Robin Williams, maybe. No, they kept saying Parkinson. There was something about this because obviously something is wrong with the guy, right? Everything that happens is depending upon fad and perception, collective perception, everything. It's and I study what people say, what people think, why they say things, why they think things, and how they come up with certain ideas and certain aspects of stuff. Now, Biden, believe it or not, the more he speaks, the worse it gets. Let me explain to you that. It's called habituation. What does that mean? Habituation is one of these concepts that means that novel stimuli, if you put on a watch or you put on a a bracelet or something, earrings. At first you say, God, these are heavy. Contact lenses, glasses, whatever it is. At first you say, I don't know, these, just wait. As the stimulus and stimuli become not novel, not unique, you habituate. They're like, okay, I got it. So that your attention goes to other sounds and feelings, like the sound of brake squealing and a car careening out of control. That's what you might pay attention to. Or your baby crying. That's what you might pay. But if you're walking around constantly saying, this watch all day long, it's dangerous. So what happens? You're used to it. So what happened? Joe Biden came out and he says, and now a man of great Britain, President Putin. Okay? They loved it on. What was your reaction when he called Zelensky Putin? What was it? What was your asking? Desensitization. Correct, Bigsby. Conditioning. Absolutely. What was your reaction? What was your reaction when Biden said Putin? What was it? Nothing. Nothing. You've heard it before. He calls Trump, Vice President Kamala Harris. He says what it's the names that you've heard it before. Doesn't mean anything. Bigsby said, I laughed. Literally blow. It's expected, Cliff says it. You're right. It's like, okay. Remember John Fetterman? John Fetterman came on, incoming. When John Fetterman came out, and you said, whoa, 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 dude, whoa. Remember that? Good. Whoa. Against Dr. Oz? Dr. Oz must think, I lost to that? There's no way, Oscar. Oh, man. Remember, he was like, I mean, the Shrek guy comes out with the short pants and he's got Birkenstocks and flip-flops and a hoodie. And what the hell is this? The senator from Pennsylvania? He had a machine to make him be able to read. He couldn't understand anything. What the hell's going on? I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, my God. And you thought, oh, my, that's it. That's it. Oz, you've got it, dude. Literally, bro. You've got it. You got it. Why, look at him. By the way, now, whatever the recovery is, it's miraculous. And that's why if I were Fetterman, I would have said, hey, look at me. All right, you were laughing at me. I'm doing okay now, which is true. I don't know what he went through. Look at Hillary. Remember when Hillary went to the head? She doesn't do any of that staring anymore and whatever that neurological fugue was. That's what I would say. But then again, you'd have to admit that there was something wrong with her, but she said it was. Anyway, it's moot at this point because she's never going to be elected to do anything. But you got used to it. And you said, well, that's him. And then people said, hey, man, lay off. Why? The guy had a stroke. I know he had a stroke, but he's a senator. Come on. Lay off. Lay off. It's like if your surgeon came in and he really had Parkinson and his hands were shaking. You go, he's a surgeon? Yeah. Come on. Oh, shaming? He's a surgeon. Oh. Are you cruel? I'm not cruel. He can't hold a scalpel. We don't do that anymore. That's what I would do. I would go if I were Biden in front of all these people with handicaps and this and that and say, they're telling you, or they've told you what they're trying to tell me. Because they don't like older people. They don't like old people. They don't like anybody different. They're shaming. My God. Oliver Wendell Holmes at 90, but Alan Dershowitz is 85, who predicts everything, by the way. Alan Dershowitz, I love the guy. Everything, I predicted that. If you put if you put Alan Dershowitz on a sports, they were doing the scores on a sports show, ESPN, and Kansas City over. I know. Al, okay, all right. You predicted everything. You knew everything. Alec Ball. I knew it. I knew it. I wish one time they'd give him the wrong thing. And Alec Baldwin convicted of manslaughter. I knew it. No, I made a mistake. I lied. He was acquitted. I knew you'd pretend you lied when you. Okay. Everything they do is for a reason. And all they know is this. Hey, Obama. Yeah, Obama. Not you, Michelle. No, Obama. Barry, come here. What about you? You've got no control over this. They got to send Rosie O'Donnell, George Clooney. George Clooney never wrote anything in his life. They said, George, you're going to sign this. Okay, you got it. Whatever. George Clooney and Amal, Alex Soros and Huma. Huh. See any similarities? I do. Let's let it go at that. What do you think? Hey, Huma. Yes. So you and Hillary were friends, right? Okay. And then you marry Anthony Weiner? Yeah. And then you want to marry Alex Soros? I mean, what? Let's talk about, forget Biden. Your sense of attraction, what is the matter with you? And here's the best one. Yeah, Alex, listen, you're a son of a billionaire, but her first husband was Anthony Weiner. Okay? That's all I'm going to tell you. That's all I'm going to tell you. Got that, Al? You got that, honey? Literally, bro, her first husband. Okay? So just before you get kind of cocky, interesting phrase, but before you get too overindulgent in your own particular largesse, remember what happened here. Okay. So here's Biden. Biden says, I'm in. Nancy, by the way, I think Nancy got a little refresh job. She was on something, and she said, well, I think the decision is up to President. Excuse me, he's made his decision. He said, I'm running. Yeah, but we're going to wait till NATO is over, and then we're going to sit down, and he's going to decide. Nancy, do you not hear me? Do you not? Is it your face? Is the whole thing? By the way, how's your husband doing? And the dude with a hammer. What was that all about? Let it go. I know. Want to show us your freezer with the ice cream in it? That was a good move. Maybe you and Elizabeth Warren can have a beer. Don't you love when they try to be like homespun? Chuck Schumer making burgers. Chuck, they're frozen. What? They're frozen. The hamburgers are frozen. What? The thing you're pretending to be doing. They're frozen, literally, bro. They're frozen. Wasn't that the See, there's one thing about Trump. Trump says, I'm not going to do something. I'm not going to put on a cowboy hat. I'm not going to go bowling. Remember when Obama went bowling? I'm not going to be like Hillary, throwing a Boilermaker back at some Scranton, iron worker bar. I'm not going to do that, bro. I'm not going to do that. Trump says, this is what I do. And Trump is brilliant. Just sit back. Sit back. Don't say anything. Let these people make this stuff up. Don't you love this one? Did you hear during this was so good. There was a wonderful, I think it was the Federalist did a beautiful piece. This is so interesting. It said, seeking to assuage concerns among Democrats that he's mentally incapable of taking on Trump in November, Joe Biden had a big boy press conference. Remember that? Remember the big boy press conference? Are you aware of that? You know, when people ask you how we jumped into big boy press conference, that was, of course, Mr. Kirby, big boy. Let me see, big boy press conference. It was, yep, big boy press conference. I love this. That word took on a meaning in any event. Let's go through this. Now, not to mention Not content to just step on his own tongue more than once, the president spewed some of the most outrageous mistruths and lies so far. From claiming Trump is his vice president to, that wasn't really a lie, that was to rewriting history. Number one, rising prices. Biden claimed that overall prices fell last month. Wrong! According to PBS News, wholesale prices in the U.S. rose by a larger than expected 2.6% last month from an earlier year. Then he's number two. Biden he picked Donald Trump as his vice president. Quote, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president if I didn't think she was not qualified to be president. Biden, of course, picked Kamala Harris. And I don't think that was a lie. That was just When confronted by a reporter on a moment from earlier in the day when he mistakenly referred to Ukrainian President Zelensky as Putin, Biden said, I said, no, I'm sorry, Zelensky. And then I added 5 other names. Even anti-truth CNN admitted that did not occur. Next, Biden blamed his overall travel schedule as the cause for his poor debate performance against Trump. Quote, the next debate, I'm not going to be traveling 15 time zones a week before. Anyway, bro. Literally, anyway, dude. That's what it was about. Now, contrary to his claim, Biden did not travel through 15 time zones a week before the debate. The president returned from his overseas Europe trip on June the 15th and spent the week before the debate prepping at Camp David. Next, Trump's NATO comments. Biden distorted comments about NATO Trump issued at a recent rally in Florida. Quote, I think he said at one of his rallies, don't hold me to this. That's a tip-off. Where he said, quote, NATO, I just learned about NATO or something to that effect. Foreign policy has never been his strong point. That characterization, of course, is false. When describing his mindset prior to his first NATO summit in 2017, Trump said, quote, I didn't want to be obnoxious because I felt, it was the first time I'd ever done this. I went. I didn't even know what the hell NATO was too much before, but it didn't take me long to figure it out, like about 2 minutes. And the first thing I figured out was they weren't paying. Hamas's popularity. While discussing the ongoing Israeli conflict, Biden contended there is a growing dissatisfaction on the West Bank from the Palestinians about Hamas. Polling has shown the majority of Palestinians support Hamas and approve its October 7th attack. That is another area of discussion that we could go into, but not at this time. Number 7, endorsements. Biden claimed the United Auto Workers endorsed me. That statement is misleading. The group endorsed Biden for president nearly 6 months ago in January. Okay. Number 8, Biden whitewashed his prior support for the United States having a military presence in Afghanistan. Quote, you may recall, he said, I still get criticized, but I was totally opposed to the occupation and trying to unite Afghanistan. Quote, once we got bin Laden, we should have moved on because it was not no one's ever going to unite that country. As noted by left-wing Lie Factory CNN, quote, in the early days of the war, Biden, then a U.S. Senator for Delaware, was a vocal public supporter of the U.S. having a sustained military presence in Afghanistan and engaging in extensive nation building there. And he explicitly rejected the idea of narrow military mission targeting terrorists. Number 9, bad poll numbers. Biden claimed, quote, there are at least 5 presidents running or incumbent presidents who had lower numbers than I have now later in the campaign. Even the Washington Post and their fact checkers said, nope. Literally, dude. I'm sorry, literally, bro. I'm a dude fan. Literally, bro, that's not true. According to the presidential ratings tracked by FiveThirtyEight, Biden's approval rating at 36.8% at this point in the presidency is lower than any other presidents besides George Herbert Walker Bush, 36.7, Jimmy Carter, 33.9. Gerald Ford had an approval rating slightly higher. All 3 lost. Next, Biden downplayed the notion that his policies are responsible for America's ongoing economic pains. Quote, as you recall, understandably, many of you and many economists thought my initial initiatives that I put forward can't do that. it's going to cause inflation. Things are going to skyrocket. Debt's going up. Contrary to the insinuation, inflation indeed skyrocketed after Biden took office and implemented far-left economic policies. Next, dude, bro, Biden regurgitated the lie, the fictive misrepresentation that border encounters have gone down over 50%. And the current level is lower today than when Trump left office. Border encounters. That isn't true, as illegal border crossings have exponentially risen to record highs under Biden's presidency. We all know that. Next, Biden contended that, quote, foreign policy has never been Trump's strong point. And the statement is inaccurate. During his presidency, Trump secured peace agreements between Israel and several of its Arab neighbors, reestablished a working coalition among like-minded nations in the Indo-Pacific region to counter Chinese aggression, and decimated ISIS, among other achievements. 13, classified documents. While speaking about his prior interactions with Chinese dictator Xi Jinping, Biden suggested he turned over, quote, all of his notes to federal officials upon leaving office. Quote, I've spent more time with Xi Jinping than any world leader. And by the way, I handed in all of my notes. Biden did not, in fact, turn over all classified materials in his possession upon leaving office. Federal officials discovered boxes of classified documents in Biden's Delaware Beach home, including records that dated back to the time of his being in the Senate. Number 14, Biden said, quote, more children are killed by the bullet than any other cause of death. Bro, literally, this is false. Data established and published by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention contends that the leading cause of death among minors is firearm-related incidents, but considers 18 and 19-year-olds as children in its analyses. When using the actual classification of minors, individuals under the age of 17, the leading cause of death among children is motor vehicle-related incidents. And I would also hasten to say that you will find that self-harm is another. And finally, number 15. Biden contended falsely that Trump told Putin, do whatever the hell you want regarding Russia's invasion of Eastern Europe. That's not accurate. Trump's remarks came during a South Carolina rally, during which he recounted the story from when he was president and speaking with a NATO member. Trump purportedly told this state that he would withhold U.S. support if they didn't pay their minimum defense spending obligations. Trump purportedly told this state that he would withhold U.S. support if they didn't pay the minimum. So as you can see, and as is currently the case, and as is what we are seeing, lies, prevarication, absolute distortion is prime and part. The level of corruption that we are seeing right here is off the charts. So let me tell you again, for reasons, imagine going into the day room of a psych ward and trying to predict why fights broke out. Who knows? We are seeing, absolutely seeing, the complete end to, number one, the Democratic Party as we know it. Number two, the power, the influence of Barack Obama. And by the way, Bill Clinton's out of it. Number three, anything vaguely resembling organization. Number four, the emphasis and the effect of Hollywood. George Clooney stood with Julia Roberts on stage, and then the next week says, after I ask everybody to give me money, I then turn around and say, I don't think he can do this. So you lied to people? You lied? And next you're seeing a lot of people who are giving money from the donor class asking that money be frozen. Next, you're seeing another series of lies where you have people who are hedge fund billionaires, Wall Street titans, studio execs, and big tech muckety mucks are actually claiming that they didn't know that Joe Biden was this bad. They are actually, literally, bro, literally claiming that they didn't know that Biden was this bad. Literally. It's a complete and total destruction. Now, here's a little bit of whatever note, information, suggestion. I saw somewhere Alina Hababa, whatever her name is, because she's feeling so left out of this stuff because she was okay for a while. Then during Trump's case, and Lara Trump is moving in, and then this Margot Martin is trying to get her name in. There's all these people trying to get to vie for who's, one of Trump's gals, like Charlie's Angels. So Alina Habba, the lawyer, says, and by the way, everybody, when you're out in a restaurant and you sign your tab, write the Trump don't tax tips. That'll do it. I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me, right? Is this the best you can do? Lara Trump, also pronounced Laura Trump. I don't know, Lara, Tara. Remember Gone with the Wind? Tara. They don't call it Tara. Naomi, Missouri. I don't know why people do this, but they do. The first thing that Lara Trump should do is, okay, listen to me. Get ready. Remember 2 rules. 1, tell people what the opponents are going to be doing, so that when it happens, you go, say, this is what they do. Who's that? Caroline Sunshine. Oh, is this Trump? Is this Trump approved? Well, we'll look at this Caroline Sunshine. Oh my. Let me go back to what I'm saying here. Lara Trump's got to say, here's what you've got to do. Prepare for this. They're going to bring all these illegals in who are going to legally vote. Illegals legally, interesting, because of legislation and because remember, Biden was going to veto, literally, bro, veto legislation that would prevent people just voting without any kind of documentation. In any event, they've got to tell people this is what, so we can have all the poll watchers we want. We can have all the lawyers we want. We can have all the stuff we want. But, and by the way, try doing this on Fox News, Lara. Good luck with this, because they're going, don't bring up voting. This has nothing to do with the machines. It doesn't matter. We don't talk about voting. But it's critical. I don't care whether it's critical. If we cared about what's critical, when we put that morning show on, that's the worst. Have you ever seen this? Do you watch this? Have you? I mean, I got to tell you something. I can't. I'd rather watch maybe, bad arrests with police cams, vest cams, but it is so horrible. It is the worst. It is just the worst. Aside from the mispronunciation, we don't care about that. Just like this, no blank obviousness in any event. 2 things. Number 1, tell them, here's what they're going to do. And number 2, when you do something, blame your opponent for it. Do what you're doing, but blame them. That's what they do. People mistakenly associate this with Saul Alinsky. Whenever you don't know what to call something, refer to Saul Alinsky and blame him for everything. Well, Saul Alinsky was the first one to say that, repeat the lie. No, I don't think that was Saul. Well, whatever. People don't know who Saul Alinsky is. They don't know what Project 2025 is. They don't know any of this stuff. They just repeat this. But this is the part that's scaring me. And what they're doing too is when 538 and all these polls are starting to tell you, and this is the most important part, the reason why you'll start hearing polls suggest that Biden is inching towards pushing, how do I say this? Pushing or rather beating Trump. They are softening you up, acclimating, conditioning you, habituating you to the notion that don't be surprised when Biden wins. Because if you didn't hear the polls and you found out he won, you would say, wait a minute, this guy beat Trump? Yeah, but if you've had a steady dose of, yeah, but the polls are showing, even though nobody ever asked to say, can I see these polls? Just like people, studies show. What studies? Or they, they say that, they say, who are they? Well, they say that there are more emergency room visits and 911 calls during full moons. They say that. Who says that? They. Who are they? There's no they. You keep repeating that. Well, Saul Alinsky said, no, he didn't say that. People just, we love misinformation. We love it. Literally, bro. Literally. Okay. Well, that's an hour and 25 minutes for you fine people. Christian Janus, Bradley Opland, the lovely, the talented, the ineffable, the ineluctable, Edie Crowley. Thank you. And Cut Up Chatter and Master Voda, or Yoda, excuse me. What am I saying? Thank you. You want to meet again tonight? Who wants to meet again tonight? Are you up for it? Are you up for it? Remember, Lionel Legal, Lionel Nation. You keep track on both. Subscribe to both. We're building this up. We are moving out. Moving out. We're expanding, ladies and gentlemen. We are expanding. Thank you for this. Make sure, again, you do this. In addition, I say this out of love and admiration and because I love you madly. You're like family to me. The Addams family. Just kidding. This is very, very important. My beloved, my better half, the woman who gave me life and saved my life, Mrs. L, this is her channel on YouTube, Lynn's Warriors. If you are a parent, a grandparent, a guardian, a concerned citizen, and you want to find out what's going on, you must subscribe. Look at her interviews. You're not going to believe it. The best is Baby Farm. Not the best. It's horrible. What am I saying? Baby Farm. Hotels, hotel horrors, and the latest, what happens with online phishing and what people are doing, creeps are doing by destroying. Huh? Well, that's coming up later. So this is important. You sign up right now and subscribe. This is one you got to see. What happens when kids are hit online with sextortion and oh my God, it's horrible. Have any of you folks gotten this butte? Did you ever get the extortion letter that says, we know what you're doing. We see you online. We're doing this. Send X amount of money in Bitcoin and we won't go public. Whatever the hell it is. You're an adult, you say, what the hell is this about? But if you're a kid who might have perhaps involved himself in a moment of indiscretion, sending a picture to somebody, kids are hurting themselves. It's bigger than anything you can imagine. And she has a way of addressing this. And you need to sit down with your kids and you need to inoculate them. Talk about vaccination, to vaccinate them and inoculate them with the truth. So follow her right here. Oops. Anyway, just there. I told you that one. Okay? Okay. Nightingale says, Lionel's new channel is literally Lionel. Literally. That might be a new one. Literally. Literally, bro. Literally. All right, dear friends. Stay tuned. I'm thinking tonight, I don't know, 7, 8. We'll see what happens. Only if you're game. But make sure you sign up. Lionel Legal, Lionel Nation. Lionel Legal, Lionel Nation. And also make sure you follow me on Twitter. Here's a third one for you. Lionel Media. And I can't call it X. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. You were fantastic. Please pray for this country. Let us work to help this country because, my friends, we are in need of severe help from someone, anybody. In any event, have a great day. Thanks so much. Remember, stay tuned. More videos dropping. Remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.